to UC Berkeley for free. In fact, we could send every 18-year-old to UC Berkeley for free.
Okay. One of the points that we're trying to make with the grade example was that it's a redistribution that's not fair. In the name of fairness, to try to raise people's grades who haven't necessarily earned it, why penalize those who have? And so when we look at Obama's tax plan, which is going to target the rich, who we pointed out are already very heavily taxed, including the top 10% who pay 68% of the tax burden, the top 5% who pay 57% of the tax burden, why penalize them for more? When Obama says that he's going to give 95% of wage earners a tax cut, that's falsehood. You can't. Most of the bottom 35 to 40% of wage earners don't pay any income tax at all. So what he's essentially going to be doing is transferring income from the higher percentages to the lower percentages. And we see this as socialism. Socialism would be the same idea as giving high GPA students grades and points to lower students. You don't want to penalize success. What made this country great was not punishing achievement. The greatest ability that we all have, that you have, to control your own destiny is your own individual drive and unleashing the opportunities that you have in this country. That's what made this country great. Not waiting around for government handouts. And Obama has proven he's there to have a governmental answer for every possible need. And we see that as socialistic principles and as a real negative drain on our economy, because if you're punishing small businesses, if you own a chain of McDonald's franchises and your income taxes are going to go up because you make more than Obama's $250,000 threshold. That number, by the way, has been getting fuzzier the last few days. Joe Biden on Monday said it's $150,000 now, not $250,000. You're not going to do with less yourself. You're going to close one of your stores, or you're going to lay people off. And who is hurt by that? When small businesses are downsizing, when they're laying people off, it's going to be entry-level job positions that you would be trying to fill that are going to be eliminated. So we see Obama's tax plan as going to increase unemployment and reduce job opportunities, especially for younger workers. When small businesses are penalized, they have to downsize and the economy is hurt. Ed Morrissey says the government does not exist to determine the acceptable level of wealth for its individual citizens. For government to assume that role, it would have to end private property rights and assume all property belonged to the state. That economic direction has been an abject failure everywhere it has been tried. And taxing and spending is not a good economic recovery policy. George Bush lowered the tax rates for the lowest percentage from 15% to 10%. That was a 33% decrease. Okay? If Obama lets those tax increases lapse, which he probably will do, everyone's going to get a tax increase, not just the rich.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about taxes and fairness and who pays what and who should be paying what. If you earned your wealth in this country, you should return to this country some of what you earned in the form of taxes. That's the agreement that we've always had. We've had a progressive tax policy in this country all throughout the 20th century. Barack Obama does not want to raise taxes on the wealthy. What he wants to do is restore the tax plan, the same tax rate that was in place before George Bush came into office. Okay, according to Professor Michael Zig, professor of the economy at Stony Brook University, the last 8 years has seen the greatest transfer of wealth in American history from middle class to the super wealthy. John McCain's tax plan gives over $4 billion in tax breaks to oil companies. How much more money do these people need? Okay, these are the facts. This is the tale of two tax plans. This is from the Tax Policy Center, which is an independent, nonpartisan policy center that looks at tax plans. Under the Obama plan, take a sales clerk, $25,000. Under the McCain plan, that person would get $94 more annually in his tax plan. Under Obama, that person would get $860 more. Take a teacher. Say teacher average salary maybe $50,000. Under Obama's plan, that person would gain another $1,100 a year. Under McCain, $446. This is when we get the $250,000 figure that everyone talks about. The plan that Obama wants to put into place affects people earning $250,000 and over a year. According to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, 2/3 of all Americans earn less than $60,000 a year. According to our Census Bureau, the average American household earns $50,000 a year. These people will see more. They will have less taken out of their salaries for taxes. It's only people who can afford to pay more who will actually be paying more. And again, what he would be doing is readjusting the taxes to what they were before Bush came into office. A lawyer making $250,000 under Obama would actually make $1,591. Under McCain, he'd make over $7,000. An investment banker making $750,000 under McCain would gain $11,000 a year. Under Obama, he would lose $19,000. A CEO earning over $1 million would gain $91,000 under McCain. How does that help the average working person?
Okay. Now it's going to be 2 more sessions of 2 minutes. So 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Got it. Ms. Ellis is right in the idea that certain people will get a higher tax cut than others. There's no question about that. But what's hard for us to understand, I think, at our age, and is as younger folks, many of you don't have jobs, or if you do, it's not really that high-paying jobs. But as you move through your career, you will make more money. If someday you are fortunate enough to own your own business or work at a place where you are a CEO, if you have a choice of either paying more taxes or taking that money that you're saving by not paying taxes and hiring more workers, you will hire more workers because more workers will make your business more profitable. If that CEO, if you have to pay more money in taxes, you will lay workers off. How will that help the average person? It doesn't help the average person to cut their taxes and then have them laid off from their jobs. That doesn't seem to be a good idea. And the idea, just to bring it home, and I want to go back to this. You are considered, I'm not sure the statistics we got earlier were from, but many in California are considered rich. You will be unfairly taxed because of the state in which you live in has higher wages because they have higher cost of living. That is unfair taxation. I have family members who live in states where they have low incomes. They make this much money. They're in the bottom 50% of wage earners. They pay no taxes, yet they will get money back from the government for paying zero. That is a redistribution of wealth that is not fair, nor just, nor does it help the working person. Oh, wonderful. I think that the folks who do make, like CEOs, they do have a moral obligation to help those less fortunate. But as we know, charity organizations where people voluntarily give money have a much better effect than government taking money from those people and providing some government programs. You mean business. Good job.
Okay, let's put the $250,000 in perspective. The two of us here together don't even make $250,000, okay? Starting teachers, it would take about 5 new teachers, which is where you'll start out when you leave college, to make $250,000. Many of you work at Starbucks. It takes more than 10 Starbucks workers, that's a whole shift, to make $250,000. While I hope you eventually make $250,000, you're not there yet. You're not going to be there by the time you're 26 in most cases. You do not have to worry about these tax cuts. And there's a reason for that chart. Let's just put it in perspective. One of the reasons the top earners pay the most, it looks a little lopsided, but keep in mind, the top 20% in the United States own 83% of the wealth. Okay? The top 5% in the United States own 95% of the wealth. So if they are paying 50% of the taxes, they're still at imbalance. They own 95% of the wealth. All right. According to Robert Reich in USA Today, during wartime, and we are in 2 wars, okay, tax rates for the rich have always been raised. Okay? During World War I, they were raised to 77%.